greetings. Welcome to the Neo Report of this Friday night. We want to thank you for hanging out with us as we share the information that we've come across that we think will be helpful for you as you are navigating around with everything that is going on in our country and around the world. Right now, I am your host, Dr. J.W. Wimble, and I'm waiting for our wonderful co-host, the wonderful Queen Amina, who will be joining us briefly. But until such time, we're going to be sharing with you the various information that we got that's coming down the pipe. We think that it is important that you know what's happening so that you know how to govern yourself. Things are constantly changing from last week to this week. There are things that are happening that have a direct effect on us as a people. And so we want to be engaged. We cannot afford to sit back and just watch things happen. We have to be in the mix with what's happening now so that we know how to govern ourselves. We're going to share something with you, and we're going to be right back afterwards to talk about it as we're moving into what we're going to talk about tonight, and that is Project 2025 and how it is affecting you and what is going on and how much of it has been fulfilled and how much it hasn't. So don't go anywhere. Check this out. We'll be right back.
Regardless of their race, is seen for their potential and not their color. Where the Negro children of Israel, the descendants of a people who have shown resilience and tenacity in the face of unimaginable struggles, are recognized for their divine nature. In the world we live in today, this vision may seem distant, but every journey begins with a single step, and that first step starts with you, the divine entity experiencing a human existence as a Negro child of Israel. For centuries, our people have endured, waiting patiently for the reparation process. But while we wait, there is work that we can do. Work that doesn't involve money, but is just as important. Every day, commit to performing at least one act to advance the cause of the Negro children of Israel. This quest may seem daunting, but remember, it's an experiment. It's a test to see if it's possible for us to build and control our affairs, to establish an independent nation with its own treasury. On the second day of our collective journey, we turn our attention to the young black males in our community. These young men often feel targeted, hunted, and unworthy. They exist in a system that tells them they are less, that they must work twice as hard to succeed. The question then becomes, how do we change this narrative? How do we erase the pain of being seen as a criminal, of being followed in stores, of being seen as less? For years, the false shame of being black has been perpetuated by misinformation from oppressors. Our challenge is to break these chains of false information, to inform the young Negro children of Israel of their rich and glorious history, which predates their enslavement. We must show them that they are more than the system makes them believe. In some communities, young Negro children of Israel see imprisonment as an inevitable rite of passage. This is a narrative we must change. We must remind them that they are not state chattel or state cattle, but divine beings deserving of freedom and respect. The statistics are alarming. In 6 states, African American youth are at least 10 times as likely to be held in prison as white youth. The racial disparity between black and white youth in custody has increased by 22% since 2001. It's time to rewrite the narrative. It's time to make a difference. It starts with you. It starts now. And remember, your voice matters. Share this message. Like this video. Subscribe to this channel. Let's continue this journey together. Remember, every day is a chance to make a difference. Every day is a chance to advance the cause of the Negro children of Israel. Today, make a power move. Today, make a difference.
I am here. We have this crazy circle that have come up. I'm not sure why it is like that as we are moving along. We're always trying to find out what the situation is and why things are the way they are. There's nothing more interesting than going live. And we are here to talk about what's been happening all around the U.S. and other places that we are engaged. And I want to say to everybody that's listening, I want to congratulate us that we have been able to stay out of the fray, so to say, of things that's going on and things that are happening all around us. That we have not gotten into the uh, riots or the protests that are going on. I know a lot of us are not aware of it. We're not aware of it because they're not showing it on regular television, on your network television, as they ought to. So you don't know that there are protests going on all around the world. You don't know that there are people demonstrating and upset by what they're calling the fall of Babylon and the decentralizing of our nation. Now, there appears to be those that are surprised at what's going on. I don't know why they're surprised. Excuse me, I do not know why they're surprised at what's happening, because we had already warned everybody of what was going on and what was going to be happening if this fella got back into office. But I want to say to you, continue to do the things that you are doing, which is our quiet riot. All right, our quiet riot, meaning that we have not gone out in the street. And as I said, they've been protesting, but you haven't heard about it. You haven't seen the police out in riot gear. You haven't seen any of that. In fact, like I said, you haven't even seen the fact that there is protesters going on. Now, you wait until Black people start to come out into the street. If we come out into the street and start protesting and get along, you watch the whole atmosphere of everything begin to change. So everybody, we continue to say, stay just right where you are. Don't move. Don't even worry about it, because the things that we are doing is working. If you look and see the stocks and things that have been affected, you look at the stores that are losing money. You look at Target and the money that they're losing. You look at Walmart and the money that they are losing. Okay, you will notice that our quiet riot is working, because that's where the real power is. The real power is not in the rioting and throwing rocks or whatever we've done. We've done that. We've done that. We've been there. We've done that, and we've got nothing to show for it. Right? We've got nothing to show for it. But arrest, okay? But arrest and imprisonment. We protest police brutality and then have to deal with police brutality. We protest and say Black Lives Matter, and then they have an anti-protest against Black Lives Matter by running around saying White Lives Matter. So there's another big 1 million person march that's coming up. I see everybody's talking about it. Everybody in the internet stratosphere, those that are on TikTok and in other places, we hear them talking about it. And I think that's April the 5th. And I will also say that there's a thing going around that when people are talking about going to these protests on April 5th, there's an ancestor that's supposed to come on and tell you to sit your behind down. I concur. Sit down. Let's keep doing what we're doing. Let's keep using our finance. Let's keep using our dollars to shape the narrative. Because that's what is hurting them. Because as you see what they're trying to do, they're trying to move this country into an oligarchy, right? Where the rich are running everything. And listen, we were given a hint. Michelle Obama said to us before, so listen, that if this man get back in office, it's not going to be about whether you black or white, green, yellow, blue, this, that, or the other. But it's about how much money you got. And those are the people that they want to deal with. And they're getting rid of everybody that's not fitting into their narrative. So don't be surprised that we are part of the plan. Okay? We are part of that long-term plan of what they planned on bringing. And we're going to look at some of Project 2025. Tonight, we want to welcome to the stage Queen. Peace to the Queen. We know we're glad to have you back.
Doc,
You've been
family.
celebrating, and we are happy to just have you back with us to share with us. We missed you on last week. People were saying what happened to the Queen, and then I was like, listen, everybody's got a right to celebrate. Just because my old fogey behind don't have no friends, that don't mean nobody else can have friends to celebrate their birthday and enjoy themselves. So welcome back.
I'm happy to be back. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the love. It was a wonderful
No doubt, always. No doubt. We're glad that you enjoyed yourself. But since you've been going, like we said, missing 1 week, there's so much action. There's so much things that every day. And I see things that just, what I hate is I hate bullies. So I try not to look at TikTok because I get caught up in the algorithm because they know that I'll be looking at those police brutality videos. And I don't know why I take myself through that pain of looking at all of those police brutality videos because I be feeling like I just need to do something. Like if I was there bored, that wouldn't have happened. I'd have walked up, you'd be going through all of these different changes about what you see that's happening because it's getting ridiculous. Absolutely. Nobody is safe right now, Queen. Nobody.
No, but at the same time, I like to keep us encouraged because all of these things would not be happening if we were not so great and so fantastic, so resilient. The level of genius and brilliance that we possess is absolutely insurmountable. So unfortunately, in a way, it's very oxymoronic because, as I stated before, we are the progenitors of humanity. So-called Black people, melanin-dominant people, are the first original humans on the planet, and everyone comes from us. And the last one of us that a Black woman made about maybe 6,000 to 9,000 years ago were so-called white people. And so they are like the super great grandchild that is constantly acting up, disrespecting grandma and grandpa, disrespecting mommy and daddy, running wild, running amok.
Wow.
Acting out of control all the time in ways of like violence and of course racism and the whole systematic setup of racism, because I will always reiterate that we cannot be racist. We as so-called Black people, melanin dominant people, cannot be racist because racism is a construct that was created to not only separate us and have them like look at us a certain kind of way, but to even make the poorest of the poorest of the poorest of white people, the wonderful toothless wonders in the South and West Virginia and other Kentucky, you know what I'm saying? Like different little pockets where, you know, honey, I done been through the pockets. So,
oh my goodness, right, right.
you know, so they've made it so that, you know, even they feel emboldened, even they feel like they have more power or more whatever, because at least they're not Black. Now, the wildest part, if you
What
just
a
give me a
delusion.
second, because it's been on my mind for a minute. How is it that you can hate on a people so much, but yet you do everything in your spare time and what have you to look like them? That is a psychosis that needs to be further examined, because one thing about me, I know, and a lot of us, because, you know, we're smart people. I'm not trying to emulate my enemy. I'm not trying to emulate someone or an individual who I think is supposedly less than me and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I don't want to look
Right.
like you.
Right.
Because I damn sure don't want to look like Massa and Lily Bell. I don't want to look like them.
Right.
So,
the thing of it is that they know they're inferior. Right. So they want to say you are. So they want you to look over there, but they're steady looking at you. Well, we're not looking at them. We're not thinking about them. Y'all go and do what you got to do. You mind your business. All we wanted to do is come here and sit down, have something to eat. We're not looking at you. We're not looking over at your table, looking at what you're talking about, looking at how you. We're not doing none of that. But you are dead in our business. Why? Because you
24/7.
recognize the reality.
Right, because also, I mean, whether you're, you know, the theologian or the scholar who's done the research to know who and what Black people really are, who and what melanin actually does, all that type of stuff, unless you're, you know, someone like that, you're going to absorb the message that's been given. And so this isn't even just in America. This is worldwide. This is in different places in the world. Now, I've been fortunate. I haven't really had racism in foreign countries. I've been very fortunate. At the same time, I do know countries where it does exist. So it's not erased. It isn't gone. When you look at the colonization of the planet by these individuals, just the colonization of the planet. Australia, you went in and jacked up the Aboriginal people and displaced them, put them deep in the desert, what have you, killed off a bunch of them, you know, mixed bred a whole bunch of them with the rabbit-proof fence experiment, all this kind of shit. Then you got New Zealand, very similar to Australia because they're right next door.
Australia, right.
Same garbage going on. You got Papua New Guinea. You got all the different Pacific islands where melanin dominant people are the majority of the people in the country. We are everywhere.
Everywhere.
We're not just African here.
Everywhere.
You got people in the Fiji
There
Islands
is no place where we're not.
Afros.
Listen, there's no place where we're not.
They are rocking the afros because it shows their stature.
Right, so there's no place where we're not, and there's no place where we were not there first.
Been all over.
So not only were we been everywhere, all over, but we were there first before you ever got there, before you ever thought about coming. We were already there thousands of years.
Before you ever existed.
Right, before you ever existed.
When we look
to come here now and want to make me believe that you discovered something is less than an insult to my intelligence.
And the gap
forget who you say was here. There were people here.
The gap is really
so wide. What are you talking about?
But do you realize, like, the gap is wide? The gap of time. We have over 350,000 to damn near a million years on Earth. They only have 6,000 to 9,000 years. Not even a good 10,000 years. The comparison is immense. And if we're the ones that have been here for the majority of the time, and then at some particular point in time, we give birth to you and you become this wild child that just runs amok through the earth, just killing and pillaging and taking land and all kind of shit. Like, come on. And then you make me your number one threat and enemy. Word? We were all chilling. We were all coexisting, doing really well. You know, Africans went up into Asia and did martial arts and all kinds of stuff. Like, Africans have done everything. Surfing, skiing, hockey. It's us. Because we've been here.
People don't know that about hockey. People don't know that about hockey. That is us. I mean, we can go on and on and on and on about how many, what we've done, what we've invented, what information they've suppressed to keep the illusion of superiority going. The rate of them colonizing and taking our art and trying to make it theirs, taking our music and trying to make it theirs. If I tell people all the time, there's a divinity in our DNA that's got us a direct connection to the source. And we are so impressionable to everything we do. It's mimicked. Okay? I tell people, if we put our baseball cap on and turn it backwards, the whole world will be wearing their hat backwards. If we take our pants, the young men take their pants and pull them down over their behind, the whole world will pull their pants down. You go all around the world now. You see them walking around with their pants hanging down. Why? Because
it's everywhere.
That's what we've done. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. And sometimes people don't even speak English.
And just think about anything that we do. Right. Not a word of English. I saw a video about some stuff in Japan, and I just sat there with my mouth open. I'm like, these people want to be black so bad until it's pathetic. I mean, I believe it was in Korea. They were sending out the ads looking for black men to come to Korea and to marry the Korean women to make babies. I guess them too are trying to preserve their race because they understand the gene pool and what's in the gene pool. And so even in that, I believe what we are witnessing here in America is a purge to make an all-white country.
They want an all-white world.
That's what they're trying to do. Right. But they're not going to get it.
All-white world.
They're not going to get it. That's not going to happen. I don't even know why they keep trying. It's just not going to happen. You cannot get rid of all of us. It's not going to happen. We are everywhere. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your energy. You know?
Now,
and so when you look, though, like I've been looking at this week, the Project 2025 and some of the things that's in Project 2025. And we were trying to tell people that this is indeed the plan that they intend on activating once they're in office. We were looked at like we were crazy. We were told that that's not possible. No, he said he don't have nothing to do with it. And you dummies believed him. And I would say to people, how could you possibly believe that he knows nothing about it and has nothing to do with it when the man that's running for vice president wrote the forward to the damn thing? And if you look at what's been happening, they have been following that to a T almost. Okay? Almost to a T. Greetings. Thank you, Sadie Gomez, watching on YouTube. We and everybody else, comment, get involved. Listen, I don't know if anybody's familiar with a book that's called the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. It's called the Protocol of the Learned Elders of Zion. And basically it's a blueprint of their plan, the Zionist plan, to take over the world. And there's a lot of controversy behind it. They say that they didn't write it, they didn't have anything to do with it. Is that it? All right, I should have known, Queen. I should have known you'd be right on it.
Darling, mother has the books, honey.
I should have known that you would be right on it. That's what I'm talking about. So the Learned Elders of Zion, if you know anything about that book, and Queen, you can elaborate.
Yes,
it's
indeed.
the breakdown. It's the plan of the Zionist a plan to take over the world. And they say
Now,
that it's not
first of
dead,
all-
there's not true, but everything in it is coming to pass.
But
Very similar
I want people
in
to,
2025.
I want people to understand something. I want people to understand what a Zionist is. Because Zionism, even itself, is relatively new, but it comes out of Khazaria and the Khazarian king and his behavior and his little journey to Israel and coming back, you know, with this revelation for all the white Europeans in Khazaria, that they should become Jewish, that they should be Jews, and that when they become Jews, that then allows them to do whatever it is that they want to do to anyone else in the world. And they look at themselves as, you know, Zionists. They look at themselves as a higher echelon of people. They look at the rest of us, anyone else who would be a Gentile, quote unquote, as goyim. Goyim basically means like an animal, like cattle. Literal, like you're a cow or a horse or a pig or a sheep or a goat or whatever. That is how they look at anyone else who is not of them. And so it used to be only Jews could be Zionists, but however, in more modern times, they accept anyone. They accept anyone who is down with the program. And they also smush in a little bit of the Talmud, which is Babylonian bizarre bullshit, if you really want to know. That book is insane. I'm not going to talk about too much of that tonight because I'm going to try to keep it positive and light and happy. But do yourself a favor and do some research. You know what I'm saying? One of the things that's going to become more difficult, and this is why I have books, is because I know the day is coming where I will not be able to Google whatever it is that I know I have in the book behind me. And so I know who's pulling the strings. Like I said before, if you're looking for the Gulf of Mexico on Google, you're not going to find it because now it's the Gulf of America. Just saying. Now, in other maps from other countries, they still have it as the Gulf of Mexico, which it really is. But, you know, the audacity and the insanity and the whole,
no, here's the insanity
of our administration.
Unbelievable.
To the stupidity we've never ever seen ever before. Now, can I say one more thing?
Ever. Please.
Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Come through.
Because you had touched on the Asians in Korea and how Asians in general, especially in places like Korea, Japan, Parts of China, not too many, because China's communist and they got a whole other thing going on. But even in like once you get into Thailand, once you get into the Philippines and you get into Indonesia, you get into Melanesia and Polynesia, aka Nigganesia. Part of my expression, but everybody black. They're black. So the Koreans and the Japanese and the Chinese know who the original people of China, Japan, and Korea are. And those are black people. When you get the Mongoloid, quote unquote Mongoloid, sorry, don't mean to offend anybody, but you have a whole country called Mongolia. Anyway, when these people begin to come in and invade into these areas, right? They are fighting the original dark-skinned Asian people. The Ainu of Japan are black people. A lot of them to this day are like monks and people who don't even live in the city. And I've seen them because they're black and got big afros. But they're Asian. They have slanted eyes. They have a broad nose. They have full lips. So again, the emulation comes from knowing who you come from. That's where the emulation comes from. It's like, I know I'm that. I know that's what I come from. And so I have an affinity for that. Not only that, but also because we fly. Who better to emulate? Who creates fashion? Like you said, caps backward, pants sagging. Not that that's a good thing, but the world will repeat whatever it is that we do.
Whatever
naturally, because everybody is our child. Everybody.
Right.
So even the ones that act wild, they're still our offspring in a way. Like we are really all connected. And if we get some of that down, it would be beautiful. If people could respect the melanin molecule, which I know some do in certain circles, but what good is that if you don't let the people who have it know what it is? How do you have the Melantropic Peptide Conference every 3 years in Germany and you don't never invite none of us there? You're studying melanin, but you don't have melanated people there. When we have melanated geniuses, like I mentioned before, Dr. Carol Barnes, Dr. Richard King, Dr. Joel Pookrum, many, many others, Dr. Layla Africa, who've studied what melanin is and what it does. It's powerful. It is a God particle, not only because it's in us and we think we're cute, but because it's in the universe. Dark matter and dark energy are made up of melanin. They are melanated black substance that, of course, scientific white America is trying to get its hands on. You know, they can't go to space and come back without melanated panels on the spaceship, or it will burn the hell up on reentry. Melanin is
I
God.
think the funniest thing that I've seen is the response of people, of white people, that put on their sunscreen, right? And then they show them a picture of themselves through the ultraviolet light, and they see they done turn black.
Yes, and they get all excited.
Oh my God, I'm black.
I mean,
that's what you need to be
with a chemical
in order to survive.
Yes, and they came out with something a few years ago. I don't know if it's still on the market. It was called like melatonin, and it's like lotion, and you put it all over yourself.
Yes,
and the more you put it all over yourself every day, the darker you get. But they look crazy. They don't look normal. They don't look normal. Something's wrong. They don't look good.
Because it's artificial. Like we
do when we get a tan.
It's artificial. So it don't look good because it's not real. It's fake melanin. That's what it is. But there's a melanin market now.
Huge.
Okay, we need to know that there's a melanin market. There's a market for our melanin, and it said that they're killing us to get the melanin. We hear so many reports of people being missing, and then the bodies turned up dead. And then when they go to do the autopsy, there are no internal organs. The internal organs have been removed. Yes. The story was, I heard fella say that he and his friend and another young lady, they was out. I forget where they were. I think they were in New Mexico, and they were at the bar. They was enjoying their time at the bar, and the young lady went to the restroom and never came back. They spent a week or so looking for her, and they couldn't find her. Then they finally gave up and was coming back to the U.S. As they was coming through the border, they looked over at another car that was also coming through the border and saw the woman in the car. They went over there to the car, called the police to stop them, right? Said, this is the woman, we've been looking for her in that car over there. She's been missing for days, and we see it in that car right there. When they go to the car to investigate the car, it's the woman, but she's dead. Dead in the car. They do the autopsy. They done removed all her organs. They done stuffed her, put the body back in the car, trying to drive it across the border, and they would have done so and been able to just get rid of the body had these people who have been looking for her had not just so happened to be at the border at the same time.
That's God.
Unbelievable. It is unbelievable. But
Like
when
the
we
young
look
boy.
at the, yes, or the twins, the twins that have just turned up missing. Horrible. Okay.
Yeah, but they
Or
found the guy.
the fireman.
They found the guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Found
the
the guy.
internet was on it. The internet was on it. Like, we got to find out who these people are. They done killed these two kids. That makes absolutely no sense. But our enemies, and I hate to say it, they're becoming bolder and more emboldened. Okay? With their racism. It's okay now. There was a time where you had to, it was politically correct and you was able to suppress it. All right?
Oh, you were supposed to.
You were supposed to.
You were supposed
And they
to.
did a great job. They was doing a great job. They did a wonderful job, and then it happened. Then it happened. What happened was they put that black man in the White House. And once they did that, they lost all decorum. All of everything that they had that was able to suppress it and keep it down, they could no longer hold it. They could no longer maintain it. They remind me of, I don't know if you've seen the movie The Fifth Element, but in the movie The Fifth Element with Bruce Willis and Chris Tucker. Okay, so you remember the monsters that look regular? But every now and then something would happen and they would shake and they would become nervous and they would switch back to being a monster because they could no longer take it any longer.
Yep.
That's what I'm thinking about these white people.
That's a good analogy.
When Barack got back in the office, they couldn't take it. They started shaking. And all of their racism started coming out. Listen, I believe the count was, I think it was 83 days, 91 days, or something like that. I don't want to make it up. That Barack Obama was in office before they started the Tea Party.
Yes. Well,
okay.
They started, yeah, because they were really mad by the time we got to by the time we got halfway through the first term, they were twitching. Because they were all in D.C. And when I was on tour in D.C., they were flooding all the hotels. They were all in our hotel. And they all had this air about them that they couldn't even like look at us and stuff. I was just like, whatever. Like, whatever.
Okay.
I don't need to be talking
You're right.
to you.
They've been twitching. But they working on a plan now. That's not just theory.
They've been working on it though.
They've got it in place.
For over 40 years. For
Right, but
over 40
we
years they've been
see
working
it
on it.
now. We see it now. We didn't see it before. Some of us did. Some of us saw before and some of us didn't. But we can't deny it now. We cannot deny the fact that we see them putting people out of the country because they said something against Israel, because they wrote a paper. All right, they went to a protest against
No,
Israel. They went
seriously.
to a pro-Palestine protest, and because they went to a pro-Palestine protest, they're being put out of the country. Now, I got mixed opinions because number one, I say that it's horrible that they're doing that. That's number one. But number two, that's not our fight. Okay. And we need to be careful, but we can watch, and as we're watching and seeing what's going on, you better know that they got a plan for you too. You better know it. So although I'm looking and I'm saying, okay, well, they bought that on themselves. They voted for F-47. Okay, you know that's his new nickname now. You know they named this boat the plane something F-47. So that's his new thing now. So you better know that they got a plan for you. There's people that's coming on that I see that's telling people straight up, get out. Get out. You got 6 months. If you know, like I know, you need to get out now. Pack your bags, put them together, go to the airport, get out of here because it's about to get crazy. Anybody, they're telling people, they stopped a woman coming out of Costco's. And she said, why are y'all stopping me? The ICE agent told her outright, because of the color of your skin. This is why we stopping you. There's no shame.
And where was this?
Yeah, we profile. This was it wasn't here in New York. I believe it was in Ohio. But don't quote me.
Okay.
Yeah, but don't quote me on that. And they simply tell them because of the color of your skin. And here's worse. People are setting people up. There was a story that a man that went to court with his lawyer in reference to his immigration situation. Nobody knew about it. Somebody at the man's job knew about it, called ICE. Told ICE the man was going to court. He's going to be at court. They went to court. As soon as they got through the hearing, ICE was waiting for them outside, locked them up, shipped them out. No due diligence. No.
So do we all need to walk with a copy of our birth certificate on us now?
Really, you got to have your papers. You got to have your papers with you. You got your ID, you got your birth certificate. If you don't have any of those things, they're arresting people, Latino people, because they don't have their birth certificate, their passport. Who is walking around? I don't walk around with my passport. I'm thinking maybe I should. Because they're asking people for passports. Like, who's walking around? Who's going to the store with their passport? They're going to get some bread and cheese and buy some stuff for dinner, for breakfast for the kids, and you stopping them and asking them for their passport, and because they don't have them, you locking them up and you putting them on a van and shipping them out. They never see their family. They don't get to go back. They don't get to make no phone calls. They don't get none of that. Just done. This is where we at now.
And they don't listen to court. They won't listen to the courts.
Right. They don't listen to the judge. The judge told them not to do it. They gave the judge the finger. Get out of my face. They said we're not going to let no judge stop us from doing what we need to do. How outrageous is this? There is no, here's the thing. Even within our communities, those that complain about the FBI, complain about the CIA, complain about DEA, complain about all of the alphabets and their unfair treatment. At least we felt as though there was some structure, there's some order there, and that if something went wrong, perhaps maybe the law may just work for me. Maybe. Okay? But getting rid of the things that they've gotten rid of, and I got a whole list of them, stuff that they've gotten rid of. It's saying you don't have a chance. We're getting rid of all of your protective measures. We're getting rid of all of the guardrails. Okay? You're on your own. And not only are you on your own, we're going back. We're going to make America great again. So we're going to go back to segregation.
Jim Crow.
We're going back to Jim Crow. You no longer have to comply with these Jim Crow laws. If you don't want a black person in your restaurant, then you can tell you don't want black people in your restaurant. If you want a white water fountain with only whites, then you can have a white only water fountain now. This is federal law that's been passed. Again, this is not something that's coming down the books. This is already here. People try to make excuses. They try to clean it up. And they say, well, it's not that. It's really for, they're trying to stop transgenders, people from going in this bathroom or that bathroom or the other. But that's all bullshit. Okay? And they're doing everything. They say, well, they're not going to give it. You don't have to worry about them totally striking down civil rights laws. You don't have to worry. They totally got rid of Roe v. Wade. Y'all said that was never going to happen.
The court did that by itself.
And the court did that. And them judges sat during them confirmation hearing and lied to your face. They knew they were lying. But here's the worst part. We knew they were lying. That's the worst part. And then when you think about this going on in the Supreme Court, I grew up. When I began to understand the system, I believe that the Supreme Court was untouchable, unbiased. There wasn't Republicans or Democrats. This is the only place where you can go to get an absolute fair hearing. It's not like that any longer. It's not like that any longer. Now you get what they give you, and if it it's based on their political agendas and whatever their political agendas are at the time.
True.
And this is where we at. This is just
what's bugging me out though is that why don't any of them believe that they too could be unemployed if they keep messing around with this fool? If the man wants to be king, he doesn't need a Supreme Court to be king. So
right.
He doesn't need a Republican. He doesn't need anybody if that's what he wants to do. So what's interesting to me, that's why I think Chief Justice Roberts sort of, had a moment last week when he was like, no, you can't do that. When they were talking about, there's so much crap. Impeaching other judges. Because Trump wants to impeach this particular judge, at least one or two,
right.
who of course voted against him in his nonsense. So
right.
Now he wants to get rid of them. And the Supreme Court was like, you can't just impeach a judge because they don't agree with you or they didn't side with you or you didn't win. Like, you can't do that. So that was interesting to me because you look at Clarence Thomas, you look at stupid Justice Alito, they just, all of them need to just go into a cave. Neil Gorsuch and even Justice Kavanaugh, like, come on. And Amy Coney Barrett, I think that's her name. She will lean with Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson. She will lean in that direction depending on what the subject is about. So she still has a little bit of integrity, but I thought it was interesting when Chief Justice Roberts was like, oh no, you can't do that. Yeah, because then he could get rid of you. if they put together articles of impeachment against any Supreme Court justice that they don't like, at
Right.
this particular point, Congress and Senate would pass it because they're all full of assholes.
And they're not. I never thought that I would see. You know who said it the best? Hakeem Jeffries. He said the worst part about it is that they take shamelessness, they treat it like it's a superpower. I said, now that's deep.
A bad soap opera too.
That's deep. They take their shamelessness as a superpower. We're not ashamed of anything, and we just putting it right now. We just putting it in your face. We don't care. This is what we're doing. This is how we're going to do it. Just deal with it.
Right.
But what I was saying earlier, yeah.
Look at the recent thing with the war plans being leaked by Department of Justice, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, right? Everyone's talking about, oh, I didn't know. Oh, I didn't have knowledge of that. I can't recall. And I'm like, wow. And they were mad at Hillary Clinton. Like the stuff that they are doing and that they have done is heinous. And then you get Pam Bondi, Attorney General, talking about, well, at least we completed the mission. You're on an unsecured chat talking about governmental information, relatively classified, may not be top secret. Maybe it was kind of secret, but
how did you not have? It has to be classified. How you have war plans that's not classified? How you have war plans that's not classified? You talking? You identify targets, weapons, locations. How can it not be classified? Or like you said, at minimum, top secret. They putting it out in the text. They putting it out in the text. Are you kidding me? Like, what kind of nonsense is this? The level of incompetence is crazy, and they want to remove. They want to remove blacks from the military, really, and put these idiots in office for what? It's all a show. They don't have the ability to do the job. They're not even interested in doing the job. They're only interested in supporting an ideology. They're only interested in supporting their king. That's all they're interested in. And they're only interested in putting together those support systems that's going to allow them to continue to go on with the nonsense that they're going on with.
Until they get checked too hard. And that will come. I am one who is firmly attached to the understanding that, yes, evil and wickedness can happen in the world. But everything is about energy and frequency. And if there are enough of us that can keep a high frequency, not only will we maintain protection, sanity, and a slight level of normalcy, but it's like being in a crowd where someone is shooting bullets and you don't get hit, which I've been in. So I'm just like, I always talk about protect your bubble, handle your handle. I am not afraid. I'm not afraid. No. I'm tired. Right. There's a difference. You know what I'm saying? Right. I ain't scared of shit. Right. I'm not sitting over here. Oh my God. Look. No. Because number one, I think it's a nudge. It's a nudge, like the Canadians, elbows up. It's a nudge to each other to get ourselves together. It's a nudge to us. There are more of us than them on the planet. So cut the crap.
Right.
And let's get to work. Like, just unifying here first is a major freaking step.
First.
Here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But I will say that go ahead, like Utah. I don't want to miss the point. You said like Utah.
But I'm saying that, like, even what we were talking about before about melanin is 450 to $1,150 per gram. Each of us are walking around. We are worth more than trillions of dollars. Can we move in that energy? Can we reflect to each other that energy? Like, oh, I see you. Yeah, go ahead, $1 trillion boo boo. Like,
Right.
come on.
$1 trillion
That is
man.
what we're really rocking with. That's second
Absolutely.
that. You know, and travel in numbers, you know, things like that. But, you know, and depending on where you are, but always keep your wits about you. Keep your head on the swivel. Walk with
Well,
whatever
our
you
strength
have. If you have a taser, if you have whatever you have, if you have a
is in our
firearm.
numbers.
Huh?
I said our strength is in our numbers. Look at the effect that we are having in these quiet riots where we are redirecting our monies. We haven't even all gotten on board with it yet. But look what has happened based on those of us that have. Look
They feeling it.
of the losses that are happening in Walmart. Look at the losses in Target.
Target.
Our rich boys lost over $200 billion last week. All right. And I understand that 142 of that billion was lost by the new Nazi, the new Tesla Nazi
Hello.
alone.
Yeah, he's crying.
That's
I'm
good.
like, what needs
They'll
to
keep
happen
doing what
to
we're
help?
doing because we're having an effect.
Yes.
We're seeing the power of our money, the power of our dollars
Yes.
in effect. Okay, so we pull them away. Let's do more of the things that I see that's happening. Let's have more of these trips to just go all buy black. We all everybody get together. You know, I saw churches loading up the vans and loading up the buses after service. Everybody go to this one black establishment
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
and support that establishment. These are the things that we have to do. And this whole segregation thing is a big joke. Because I have not talked to one black person who hasn't said, bet, let's do it. Okay? Let's segregate. Let's get away from them. Give us our own. Y'all do you. Let us do us. Because we know what happens when we get together. You know
And
what's
they do
happening.
too.
That's what I'm about to say. You do too. That's why you spend so much time trying to destroy what we've built. That's why you get the Rosewood stories. You get the Black Wall Street stories. Why? Because they are the
Lake Lanier
epitome
story.
of our excellence of what we could do. You know
Louisville,
that you put our
Odessa.
ancestors out there with nothing. With no, ain't no such thing as pull yourself up by your bootstraps if you ain't got no damn boots. All right? Nothing. And look what we've done. Look what we've accomplished. With you fighting against us every single day. And we've not only survived, we've strived. And we'll do it again. And I will also say this, that our families, our black families weren't destroyed and separated the way that they are until we wanted to integrate. Okay? And so if you go back and do it before the 60s, when I was coming up, you had complete family units with a mother and a father
I was raised that
and
way.
children in the home. You had that. But in the 70s is when they started changing things.
I mean, I know,
Right.
you know, you have single parenthood in different places, but I know the predominance for me was married couples with children. Those were all my parents' friends. My parents might have had like one or two friends that were divorced. People didn't really get divorced. You know, and for a large part, for upwardly mobile black people who were doing very well. They didn't have any problems. Like everything was good. Their children were good. They stayed out of trouble. They didn't go to jail. Like we all went to college. We all got our degrees. All
Right.
of us. And there was like 13 to 15 families that my parents rolled with, and they were like a group. They were a club, and they put money away for scholarships for each of us. And when we would graduate from high school, you get a plaque and you get some money. When you graduate from college, you get a plaque and you get some money. And they would encourage us to, excel. So I always keep talking about how children, and those of us, we were children, we grew up as children. Children, small little people, beautiful children, are so much like clay. And you're molding them and shaping them with your behavior, actions, desires, all the things that you want to do as a parent, all the stuff that you're into as a parent. Now, if you ain't into shit, it's hard for your child to be motivated to want to do things.
Right.
Because they're not
They have no example.
And so it's not until they get to junior high school and high school, if they get a guidance counselor or a teacher or a coach or someone that sees something in them, because the normalcy of home, they're barely seen. If you keep shooing your child away, I work in childcare, so as a sociologist, as someone who's got that degree, I'm trained in studying people, behavior, actions, body language, everything. And so I see these parents when they come in to pick up their children, how they're so anxious, how some of them are just on the damn phone. And I'm like, get off the phone, get off the phone. Your child is getting ready to come out and see you for the first time in several hours. Get off the phone. Then when the child comes out, our lobby, we have a little rocking horse and we got all kind of little Easter bunnies and all kind of shit everywhere, part of my expression. So, children, they're like, ooh, bunnies. They're looking at the bunnies. They're looking at the little chick. They're looking everywhere. And we have little things for them to play with. So when they come into the lobby, they don't usually just walk straight out the door.
Right.
The child sees the parent, there's an embrace, and then the child may run to the rocking horse or to where the game table is and do that for a little while before they leave. Because they've been in school all day. It's a private preschool. It's not daycare. So they're in school. So then the parent gets anxious and the parent begins to leave and says, I'm leaving. Bye. I'm leaving. To a 3-year-old. It's interesting to me because that level of psychosis and that interaction, right? It forces dependability and need. It forces it. It's not natural. It forces it because now you faking like you leaving. To a 3-year-old is like, no, like they will freak out. Okay. So I'm like, why are
completely
you doing that to your
traumatized?
child?
Right.
Why are you doing that to your child? There's so many parents, some of them I look at, I'm like, why did you even have children? Like, why did you have children? Because you're not parenting. You're not loving. You're not giving any of that. You're always giving, hurry up, I gotta go. You're not giving that. And then I have other parents that are giving that. And the ones that really give it? Latino parents. When their child comes out that door, they're like, hola, mi amor. Oh, my baby. How are you? How was your day? They kissing all over them. They hugging all over them. Hello, Black people. Can we get that, please? Can we stop rushing so much? Can we stop that? Plan your time and your day. Try not to rush when you're trying to pick up your child after you haven't seen them in 8-9 hours. These are little people. This is not junior high. You know what I'm saying? This is from 6 weeks old to 4. Crucial time period, right?
That's a very impressive, very, very, very impressionable time for a child.
So we give them love and encouragement, but I look at these interactions with some of their parents and I look at the parents' behavior. I look at how the parents become very defensive if you tell them something about the child. I'm like, I need you to put your ego over there while I talk to you as a parent. This is what your child needs. Do you know your child has a lisp? Do you know that your child only walks on their toes and they don't walk on their heels? They might need a little occupational therapy. Do you notice that? Then, oh, really? You know, and your child is a reflection of you. So I can tell. I got parents who seem to never do any laundry at all and just have the child coming in looking any kind of way. I got them kind of parents. We work with it. You know, but like we were talking about, just in terms of how we need to get ourselves together so that we can take it to another level. We can't continue to try to seek a level that is not going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Level, if you want, with what they're doing. Like we always used to say, we got to be, we got to work, 10 times harder. Okay, well, let's be 10 times better. Let's be 10 times stronger. Let's try to be 10 times more wealthy. And let's utilize our economic power with each other and not with these other crazy crackers who have no respect for you. You know, I don't go to Walmart. I ain't been to Target. I haven't. I haven't. There's other places I can go. And there's places online I can go to support another Black entrepreneur. So it just be a little more clever in your thinking, like shift your, your thought process.
Your state of mind. You need to change your mind. Your state of mind have to change.
Come on.
But I think that what I have been seeing, it looks like we're getting there slowly, but we're getting there. It looks like we recognize that, and I said it before and I'll say it again, this past election, it was almost like, for some of us, a veil was lifted off of our eyes so that we could see the truth. And when that veil was lifted, what we realized is that all we have is ourselves, and that we are the power. Those that we depended on went in another direction. Those that we thought would support us, like we've supported them. And we even told them, don't do that. That's not going to work out good for you.
Whatever.
We know that you want to identify with the colonizers. We know that you have been trained to believe that they are better, that if it's white, it's right. We know these things. We understand some of your conservative ideologies. But baby, ain't nobody no more conservative than Black folk. Okay?
But your conservatism,
we are
your conservatism goes out of the window when baby girl Becky is pregnant by a Black or white guy. Like, stop with the conservative shit. Like, just live your life and just mind your business. But one of the other things that I'm going to say is that I realize that, the colonizer is tricky. So we've spoken to many different people, some Black, not racist, of course, can't be racist, but they were like, oh, maybe there's an opportunity with him because he's a businessman. A lot of that stuff went all through the church. Okay? Even the same Latino people getting locked up right now and getting shipped off to God knows where were told by their Catholic priest to vote for Trump. Anyway, you do have individuals who didn't look at him the way we do. We knew the truth. We knew the truth from 20-something years ago. Like, longer than that. We've known the truth for a very long time about him. We knew the truth back in New York City. So he's a Cretan from Queens, right? I was raised in Queens. We knew about him and his nasty ass father doing all kinds of stuff to keep Black people out of their buildings. And not only that, but building buildings that were garbage. They weren't even constructed well. We know about when he used to say, I don't want any Black people touching my money in a casino. We remember that.
We remember. We didn't forget. Maybe y'all forgot. We didn't forget.
Putting out the article to have them, basically killed,
Murdered.
right? He wanted to have them murdered. He wanted capital punishment for them when the verdict wasn't really even that in, right? We had a
Right.
lot of circumstantial evidence. Those men sat in prison for a very long time and they were innocent, and you still
Innocent.
can't say anything positive about them or be like, wow, you know, I'm glad they didn't do it or any of that. Nothing, not a peep. So we're supposed to forget that? We don't forget that. That's why we keep stressing the importance of having intelligence, keeping up with current events, learning your history, knowing what's going on in the world. Very, very important. We are not in a period of time, honestly, to be naive and dumb. We don't have that kind of time.
Mm-mm. Not
We
at
got to
all.
pull things together. That's why, like, those brothers in Ohio.
We don't have time for no research. We don't have time for no study group. You know, them days is gone. That's past. It's done. It's over with. Only thing we have time now for is to get busy and to come
Right. And
together.
some
That's
people
all
do
we
have
got time
study
for now.
groups. I know people that have study groups and reading clubs. I
Mhm.
know people that do that. I do know people that do that. You know, they don't live here where I live, but I do know people that have book clubs and study groups and get together to talk about what's really happening. And then you have very conscious Black people who, when they do get together, they have very high level conversation. So more and more of us are really awakening. I mean, it's time anyway. We're in Aquarius. The universe is literally doing this to you, like, hello, wake up. The universe is doing that to
This
everyone.
is the age of
For some people,
information.
it's comfortable. For some people,
Right.
it's uncomfortable.
Right.
That's
It's
where we
extremely
are.
uncomfortable because what it does is it shakes the very foundation of their belief system. And so they have to deal with the fact that I have based my whole life built upon what now you trying to tell me is a lie. So now you're calling in to question my significance because you're telling me my whole life has been a lie. I'm saying, no, what we're telling you is that it's been built on mistruths. And until we wake up and realize that the wool has been pulled over our eyes and that everything around us has been designed to keep us in bondage.
I mean, I guess so. But for those of us who came down in this bad boy 10 toes down, eyes wide open, knew it from the start, and there are some of us who have come into the world that way with a consciousness like, this is not really what it seems to be. And let me study. Let me study. That's what's missing. People have gotten so into the phone and television and hanging out and being on TikTok and doing dances. People have gotten very preoccupied. But I'm sorry, knowledge reigns supreme every day. And that is our
Every
primary
day.
objective, is to receive enlightenment and to grow up. That's what we're here for. So all these distractions have been put in place to, like, take us off of our game and make you into something that they want you to be. Like we said,
Right.
oh, I think I'm going to vote for him because I think he's a good businessman. He's a horrible businessman. He's been bankrupt 6 times. What type of wonderfulness do you see in his business life? You don't. He
You
uses
don't.
other people's money. He takes advantage of people. He extorts immigrants. Come on. But you don't know what you don't know. And so if people want to be preoccupied with Dungeons and Dragons or whatever, they can do that. But they will be alarmed on that day when it's like, uh-oh. Because this is what's going on right now. People are waking up. You know, my husband and I are getting ready to do some really, really nice parties, right? Over the bookstore in Jersey. Okay? With a Black-owned bookstore. So,
Which
you
I
know,
went
they
to
have a
about
lot
2 weeks
there.
ago. I went there about 2 weeks ago. I was there about 2 weeks ago, looking for our buddy Dexter
Yes.
at that
Yes.
bookstore.
You know, so we want to, you know, bring something there to, again, uplift consciousness, make people feel good, have people patronize the store, right? Because, you know, they do that. They always do lectures and speeches all the time. but we're bringing something else. And I really want to help promote them because they bring in stuff not only from Africa, but other parts of the world as well. But they bring a lot of stuff in from Africa. And Sister Patrice just got back. She's been there since the beginning of February. So people like that are doing their numbers and trying to provide something for the community. You know, they have a reading program with children on Saturdays, you know, and they like read with me or something like that. You know, they have so many amazing books for children, Black books, Black comic books, Black story, fables, everything for children, for us, written by Black people. And then you have, you know, the other books that are, you know, a little bit more cerebral, but you're going to get that information if you sit your behind down and read it. You know, I keep saying Google is not going to help you out soon. I can already Google certain things and they're changing the answers. But I have the truth. I have it in my books. And I get that from my mother and my father. They were both readers. My father was a reader, both of them. Reading.
Listen, man, you better be able to get to your own source of knowledge, because there is a organized, concerted effort to remove you from their history books. Okay?
Right.
So you better know. You know, I do say that I think it's too late. It's too late. Y'all started too late. Y'all can't do it now. There's just too many people know. So you can white it out of the book. That don't matter because we all know now. You can't change that. All right? You can't change that. So do what you think you got to do. We're not worried about it. Again, I give our people the... Right, no.
Not everybody gonna make
absolutely. It. Right, never.
I was told that a long time ago because I used to want to try to free the world, and an elder told me, "Baby, not everybody gonna make it." I was like, "Oh, damn," but okay.
Right.
They're gonna be back anyway.
Listen, the history repeats itself. You know, you can listen to the stories of Harriet Tubman. She had the same dilemma, and she had to come to the same epiphany. Like, look, everybody ain't gonna make it. I can't save everybody, no matter what I do. Some of these niggas is just gonna stay here because they think it's good. They love massa. They worship in massa. As far as they know, all massa's been great. Why you leaving? Why we want to leave? We got it good here. Da, 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 da. They didn't realize the trauma that they were in because they grew up in this trauma. They grew up in this drama and don't realize that it's drama. So they were comfortable. So I agree. You're not going to save everybody. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter how hard you work, there are going to be those that are left behind. Listen,
and we also
you're going to be those left behind.
We had to learn, do not cast your pearls to swine. Do not cast your pearls to swine.
It's not appreciated.
They not what?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
They're just gonna roll around in mud with it, like you know.
It's not gonna mean anything to them. Casting my pearls amongst the swine, my pearls are just gonna get dirty and be unappreciative. Let me keep them to myself and give them to somebody who appreciate it. You know, even if I can just come along and drop some seeds of knowledge, some seeds of awakening, some seeds of revelation. And even if they don't get the whole revelation at one time, I know that at least I did my part. Okay, I dropped seeds. That absolutely. Somebody else will come around and water that seed. Somebody else will come around and cultivate that seed. And it'll begin to grow and it'll begin to flourish. I tell people that with the knowledge and understanding that I have, I didn't get overnight. Somebody had to come by and drop some knowledge.
Yes.
And a lot of what they dropped, not only I didn't get it, I rejected it. Like, get that foolishness out of my face. I used to have a friend that I was very close to that I worked with. We used to sell insurance together, and his office was right next to my office. And he would come in my office sometime and sneak up behind me without me knowing. He was a Muslim brother. I never forget, God bless his soul, Ernest Simmons. God bless you, Ernest. He would come to my office and whisper in my ear because he knew I was deep into the church. I was a young pastor. I was traveling. I was an international evangelist. And he would come in and just whisper in my ear and say, you know they lying to you, right?
Right.
You're like, you know they lying to you. Now, I ain't trying to tell you need to be Muslim. I'm just trying to tell you, you've been lied to. And you need to look into it for yourself. You just can't take people's word for everything that they say, which we do. Because most of us get our first understanding of any type of spirituality, religion, or whatever it is from our home, from our parents, our families and friends. And our parents, and my mama loved me. My mama ain't going to never lie to me. You understand? If my mama say that's the way that it is, then that's the way that it is. But how you know what book you read out of? I ain't read it out of no book. My mama told me. And her mama told her. And so we just passed down these generations of misinformation.
But again, that also depends.
But in that, we're glad we have those of us that have been able to come to that realization.
Very.
That know now and
like
know
I
what
said,
to do.
I don't know. I mean, I was very lucky because both of my parents were exceptionally conscious. They knew about their blackness. They knew about melanin. They knew African history. They knew Native American history. They knew who we were. And so I just grew up at the feet of that. I just listened. They would have, people come over and talk about, what's happening in the Black community and what's going on, all throughout America, what's going on in LA, what's going on in Chicago, what's going on, I'm just listening as a child. So that was a great head start for me because it was just around me all the time. And then my mother was a professor. So I would come to her, and go when she was, teaching classes and stuff and at Fordham University. And I'm just sitting in the back doing my homework and listening to her teach this class. But I'm listening. I'm paying attention. You know what I mean? When I was 11, when I learned that Shakespeare was Black. I was about 6 or 7 when I learned that Aesop was Black. I started learning all of these people who contributed to the world, and they were Black. So even though racism was a construct, it was going on. I also heard my parents tell that joke about, what do you call a Black psychiatrist, a Black lawyer, and a Black neuroscientist? And they were like, what? And they were like, a nigga. That's what they
Mr.
and they would
Nigga?
laugh about it.
Nigga.
Because they knew that wasn't really who they were. But they would say it and they would laugh because they were aware of what was going on in society and what unfortunately still continues to go on. So again, it is our personal individual responsibility to become as enlightened as we can with each lifetime. That is our main objective. I always talk about, it's not about the bag. It's not about anything tangible. It's about what you can receive and how you can evolve, not only as a human, but as a soul, because your soul is what's eternal. And your soul is what's going to keep coming back here to learn lessons, to reap karmic retribution and all kind of stuff many, many, many times before you can actually ascend and not even need a body anymore. So how far are we from that? We're far. If we're busy playing Pac-Man and just, learning a new dance and buying a new weave or getting the biggest TV we can find or getting that Cadillac I always wanted, whatever. And I'm not saying we can't have those things, but your primary objective is to seek knowledge and to obtain knowledge of self. That's it. Everything else is bullshit, honestly. Everything else, it means nothing. I don't care if you are the best baseball player ever. That is not what you're really supposed to be doing. So you can do that, but I hope that you're reading when you're home and when you're relaxing. Like, it's your personal choice, but you need to choose it.
Right. I tell you what, that one of the things that I often struggle with, and I say to myself, when you have a situation, where do you want to deal with this situation? All right. When I say that, on what level or on what frequency are you dealing? Do you need to deal with this situation on a third dimensional level where we are engaged in this theater of illusion? Or do we need to deal with this situation on a higher level where we're 4 and 5, where we're bringing it into spirituality? Because at the end of the day, we would not be having the issues that we're having here on earth if we understood who we are. If we understood the divinity that's in our deoxyribonucleic acid, okay?
And
That's
our
in our DNA.
deoxyribonucleic acid.
Absolutely. If we knew these things, then we understood these things, and we were confident in them like we are in our name, these issues that we're talking about today would not affect us because we're living above it. We are vibrating higher than that. Okay. And
Right.
we're not vibrating as individual humans, but we are vibrating as divine entities having a human experience. And as a human in that experience, if you are knowledgeable enough, you would know that you can create your own reality. And you're creating the reality that you are dealing with. And you have been doing it all of your life. My only hope is that once you come into the knowledge that you have been creating your own reality based off of your thoughts, based off your vibratory frequency, based off of what you allow to come out of your mouth or what you allow to come into your mouth, you're creating that reality. Now you can create the reality that you want. Okay? Because you have that power.
Because you're already doing it.
To do so. Right. You just don't know it. You're already doing it.
And
you're already doing it. You are more powerful. You are a co-creator with God. Bringing things into the third dimension, manifested. Yeah.
And it's not blasphemous or against God or anything to do that, because you're always doing it anyway. So if you focus on it, and if you focus on it and you become in tune with it, excuse me, with right intention.
Absolutely.
Right intention is the key
Absolutely.
that's going to turn that lock. Because when you have negative intention, you are going to retard your evolutionary process towards enlightenment. You're going to slow that down. You're going to start backing it up because you're not behaving righteously. The universe and all that is love and what you would call God is a very positive frequency. Now, although duality is going to exist, especially in this dimension, in the third dimension, we have to have duality. Right? So we have to have good and bad.
Right, got you. Because you got to have opposite here.
It's polarity. Because it rules this dimension. It doesn't rule other dimensions. By the time you get to the fifth dimension, that's not even relevant. The fourth dimension is time, which we are slaves to. We are slaves to time. That's why people.
I would say we're doing time.
Not wear watch.
We're doing
not
time.
care what time it is.
Right.
Because we're slaves to time. And people want to say time is your enemy. No, time is your friend, because time helps you get yourself together. Time enables you the opportunity to read and to do research and to learn and to grow. Time is there to help you do that. But you got to do your part. And you can't constantly engage in frivolous activity that leads nowhere. And you do it all the time. Like, sorry, and I know I'm probably going to get some people upset, but I don't like video games because it's a waste of time. The only video games I've played
Mindless
anyway
entertainment.
were pole position because I'm driving and I like to drive. And other games maybe where I'm shooting because I'm a good shot. But I can't do that for long because I know I'm wasting time. There's something else that I can be doing. There's something that I can be creating. I can be writing. I can do some laundry. I can clean the house. There's some things I can do other than waste 4 or 5 hours playing a video game that does absolutely nothing for my advancement. Nothing. A walk around the block does more for you than playing a video game. So, you know, society has been orchestrated to move away from knowledge, even though they tell you that you got to go to school, but they make school miserable. So they make you not want to go. They make you not want to read. Like they make you not want to do what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
So what do? You wind up wasting time. And that's how, in my mind, things even like, and I don't believe in sin. I believe in, positive and negative, but I don't really believe in sin. But when you look at sloth, when you look at envy, when you look at gluttony, those things come into play with people who just play video games all the time.
Oh, that's
You're
right.
not moving,
Right.
you're being lazy, right? You're not moving. You're stuffing your face, but you're not moving.
Right.
You're wasting time.
We caught into a reality of repetition. Okay. And we are doing nothing outside of focusing on what's going on inside of this electronic device. And what's going on inside of this electronic device is not advancing my objectives or it's not
machinery.
enhancing my life in any way outside of the fact that I may have gotten to a new level within this mindless entertainment. And so then that itself becomes the goal to get to a new level or to get deeper into this mindless entertainment. Now, why do you think they want to keep you engaged in mindless entertainment? Because as long as that they can keep you engaged in mindless entertainment, then they can control you.
Yes.
They got you looking at
critical
TV.
thinking won't happen.
They're telling you, listen, we're going to give you a program. We program you. Look at the things that we want you to look at.
Yeah, over here.
And bring in, right, to your consciousness what we want to put into your consciousness. So we want to put into your consciousness when you're not looking at the game and you're looking at TV that you're sick. Because we need for you to be sick. All right. So we're going to tell you about all type of medicines. We're going to give you all type of conditions and all type of symptoms, and the symptoms that everybody has.
We'll never heal you.
No, because the money is not in healing. The money is in treating. So we ought to know that going in. That's just the way that it is. They have not cured anyone. They have not gone to any the root of your diseasement to cure it. They have only tried to treat it, because treating is an ongoing process. It's a continuum, so that they can keep billing you for pills. They can keep billing you for coming into the office, keep billing you for x-rays, keep billing you for this and keep billing you for that and all of these things. So they want to treat it. It's not about healing anything. This is the way of the Antichrist. This is the way that we're living in now, because you don't know who you are. The beast is waiting. You don't know that you have the ability to heal yourself. You don't know that you have the ability to manifest healing. It's within you. It's
Yep.
within all of us. We all have it. Some people demonstrate it more than others, and they say, "Oh, well, you know, Mr. So and So, Miss So and So got a gift." No, she don't have a gift.
She's
It's
just
part of
using
her
her
natural
ability.
DNA. You have the same
Yes.
thing. She's just operating in hers, and you're not operating in yours. You're not operating in yours because you got blockages, and whatever those blockages are, it could just very well you're just preoccupied with things that are happening here on the third dimension, okay, or what
Yes.
we call life, and you have not taken time to understand anything else outside of what you see in your physical reality and what
Right.
you
Right.
believe to be your physical reality. We're not even going to get into that because what you believe to be a physical reality may not be as physical as you think it is, but we're not going to get into that right now because it's not what we're talking about.
Maybe
Our
next time.
issues, maybe next time, but our issues with the Neo report is to let you know what they're doing on the third dimension. So we're talking third dimensional warfare here. Since
Yes.
we're here, and since I know I still have an obligation to warn you, we have an obligation to inform you, we have an obligation to when we see a resolution, a way out, or something that could be done, that we share that with you. We still have that
Yes.
obligation while we're still dealing with the third dimensional mechanics and what's going on. Well, may I say for those who while we're living in the matrix, okay? Because
Right.
you can die in the matrix. You understand?
Yep.
If you believe
It
that
depends
that's
on
where you
what
at,
pill you keep taking every day.
right? What pill you
What pill are you
taking?
taking every day? The red one or the blue one?
Right. So you take the blue, you chill, you have no problems, you're just going along, and que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. I'm going to believe that God's in control and God's have it. God understand. God's gonna bless me in the sweet old by and by. When I die, I'm gonna get my reward. We all bought into that bullshit. Sorry, I don't want to offend nobody. If you offended, you just offended. But I was raised in that nonsense. And that was our colonizers told us that that's what we got to do. You're gonna have to die in order to be happy. You're gonna have to die in order to get what you want to get. We getting ours now, nigga. You wait till you dead. And this God that we was telling you about in this book that we gave you, he gonna bless you. All you got to do is die to get it.
See, I was terrible in church. I was raised in church because my mother was Episcopalian, my father was Baptist, but he didn't go to church. But my mother went to church all the time, and we had to go. And I had a lot of problems in church because I was like, "This is not right." I know it sounds interesting when I tell people that I knew this when I was a child. I knew that I had come back. I remember laying in the crib and seeing the curtains and remembering, damn it, I'm back here. All right, honestly. But I knew when I was in church, 5, 6, 7 years old, like this isn't really even true. I gave my mother hell, literally, in church.
Mm-hmm.
So I stayed in the church, and the only way she could keep me in the church was for me to be in the choir. So I would just sing. That's why I was in church every Sunday to sing for the Lord. Now,
Praise the Lord.
as I get older, I become like a youth minister, but I'm not a minister. I'm like, no, I'm just the youth advocate. I'm not a minister.
Mm-hmm.
Then I become Muslim, but I'm still working with the children in the church. I'm all wrong according to them because, I've got on my kima, I'm modestly dressed. I don't dress like a Christian person. So the preacher pulls me in. Now, maybe about 12 years before he pulled me in this second time. First time I asked him for a meeting. Now, I'm about 11 because I'm getting ready to be confirmed. You know, in Episcopalian religion, you get confirmed, similar to Catholic. So at 11, you get confirmed. So you go into confirmation classes. So now, on top of choir rehearsal, I got to go to confirmation class. I'm like, you are taking too much time out of my life with this, but whatever. Got to make you proud. So I go to confirmation classes, and I'm learning, like, you know, the Apostles' Creed and all kind of stuff. But a lot of it is just memorization. And I'm just like, is there a storyline here? So I asked the preacher, can I meet with you? So I asked him, who is God? And he was like, oh, that's such a question. That's such a big question for such a young lady. And I was like, yeah. Like, seriously, though, like, who's God? I said, because y'all say Jesus is God, but then Jesus is supposed to be the son of God. And I was like, and then there's no women except for Mary. And then she's a whore. I was like, I don't understand what's going on. And so he tried to say that we create God with our love for God and Jesus. And I'm like, that's not making sense to me. So I told him, I realize that you're uncomfortable with my question. So I'm going to go. So I left. So now fast forward, and I'm in my 20s, and I'm Muslim, but I'm working with the youth in the church. And he pulls me in again, and he's like, I think it's a conflict of interest that you're here. And I was like, why? And he said, are you following some other faith because, you know, your head is covered? I said, yeah, I became Muslim. He was like, well, why do you want to continue to work with the children here? I said, because it doesn't make a difference to me. They're children. It doesn't make a difference to me that they're in an Episcopalian church. We're in the parish house. We're not in the church. Like, they need guidance. They need to learn things. They need to stay out of trouble, and they need to not get pregnant. That's why I'm here. But he, like, really, he was like, okay, well, if you're going to do that, then you got to come to church twice a month. I was like, I don't come to church now. But it became this whole thing because I was studying a different ideology. And so gracefully, after some time, I left. But I'll never forget it because I'm like, you put me, I had been in this church since I was 9 years old. I'm an adult now. I'm making different choices. I'm reading. I am not teaching these children about Islam at all. At all. I ain't even teaching them about Jesus when I was Christian. We're doing other stuff. We're doing poetry and spoken word and dance and sports and all kinds of stuff. I am not even talking about religion. So I was like, they're caught up in my appearance instead of the work that I'm doing for free to mentor all these children that none of y'all give a damn about. So, you know, they had me speak at Youth Sunday. That was my last speech. I went in. I said, some of y'all got children that got pregnant and got an abortion and you don't even know. Some of y'all got children that are drinking way too much. I was like, and if you don't know, now you know, but we're not going to play these games. I have given my time and my service to this church.
That remind me of one of our a mutual friend of ours was doing the same thing, had to speak for Sunday school class. And he called me and gave me the scripture that he had to teach on. And he said, you know, Doc, I don't know if anybody know how to do this. I know you're going to know how to do this. And how should I approach it? So we got the scripture and we broke it down. And I explained to him the controversy behind it. He got it. So I got it, Doc. I'm going to give it to him just like you gave it to me. I said, all right. I talked to him about a week or so after that. I asked him, how did the class go? He said they told him he couldn't come back.
Wow.
They told me he couldn't come back. Listen, you know, when I tell people that I was raised in the church, unlike you, Queen, I fell in love with the Bible. Okay? And I had a passion for studying the scripture. And I tell people that I grew up in church, and, you know, a lot of people say that. But I'm like, no, for real, like I grew up in the church. So let me just explain this to you, that my mother was a Sunday school superintendent, and my stepdad was in charge of maintenance. So that means that on Sunday morning, my mama opened the church and my stepdad closed it. But now it get better because on Monday night was Monday night crusade night where pastor went out to support other churches, took the choir with him. I was a young minister. I was a drummer. I had to go. So that's Monday night. Tuesday night was Bible school. Wednesday night was choir rehearsal. Thursday was Bible school again. Friday night was the Friday night Jubilee service where we did our broadcast. No wonder I'm still broadcasting on Friday night, so you know where I get it from. Friday nights is when we did our broadcast. On Saturday was young people's meeting. So I was in church 7 days a week, every day, from 1976 until 1983. Every day. No, I'm sorry. Every day. Every day.
Every day.
I was in church. But I love the scripture. And I loved knowing that, you ready for this? That my religion was the truth. That's what made it really special. And that I wasn't confused like them damn Muslims. And I wasn't confused like my friends that I had grown up with, that I go to see them in the park one day and they no longer Paul and this, that, and the other. Now all of a sudden their names is Sunborn Ali. Okay? They didn't all turn to 5%ers overnight. Some of my dumbest friends, I used to see them now all huddled up in the corner reading these lessons. Today's mathematics. The Asiatic black man is the original man. Then the white man is the, and they would run through this whole thing. And I used to be like, he can't even take the test in class. How he know all of this stuff now? And I remember thinking that I would never let anybody know more about their false religion than I knew about the true religion of Jesus saving me and dying on the cross and coming back and get me. Okay, and he was coming again. He was coming to get me. And I don't understand how these fools running around talking about the white man is the devil when you'll see Adam and Eve right there in the Bible. You see Adam and Eve? Look at their picture. They white as they can be. How could they be the devil? Those were my remedial understandings back in 1972, 1974 when I began to come into the knowledge. But it was all a journey to bring me to even to where I am today. Okay? And my understanding of the scriptures, my understanding of metaphysics, and my understanding now of what's going on, and hoping that I could take something that I've gotten over these last 40 some odd years with systematic theology and just life experience and all of these other things and share them with you so that we can make a difference in your life. And so again, like I said, when we do these shows here, the Neo Report, we're reporting on third dimensional activities. Okay? We're reporting on third dimensional activities on what's going on here in this illusion and what you need to do to survive or to navigate in this 3D illusion as you're moving along, because you have not fully come to the knowledge of self yet. You're coming there. We're getting there. Right. Because this is the age of Aquarius. So this is the age of information. The water bearer is pouring out the water. So we no longer need any single avatars. There's no longer a need for Abraham or Jesus. All of these. We're all avatars now. What you say, Queen?
The water that the water bearer is pouring out represents femininity. Sacred femininity. because women are
Mhm.
water.
Okay.
So, like, man is earth. You know what I'm saying? Like, we really have to understand what you just spoke about. When we're dealing with different dimensions of reality, when we're dealing with metaphysics, when we're dealing with the quantum reality, there's so much going on there. And no, it's not visible to the naked eye, but there's more going on there than what we can see that is physical. Dark matter and dark energy make up what, 97% of an unseen reality? We're only living in 3% of a physical visual reality.
Absolutely.
So,
Right. Right. Right.
right. So we have to take our focus off of sometimes what is physical, because that realm of absoluteness is way bigger than our physical reality. So I always like to say, like, that's where the magic happens. And
Mm.
when you connect with that energy, with your mind, with your brain waves, with your intention, you manifest your reality. And you can manifest your reality quickly, depending on where you are in your life, how often you've been doing this. We do it all the time, but I mean, in a cognizant way, where you realize, wow, I just manifested that. Open yourself
Mm.
up to that, because it'll happen for you. Don't become so preoccupied with the physical world. Tap into that other space, because that's what brings you the manifestation that you're looking for. That and you connect with a thought and a vibration
Absolutely.
and a frequency.
Absolutely. Everything here. And then we got to go because we're out of time. But
Okay.
everything here is based off of vibratory frequencies, vibration, and the frequency of that vibration. We can even go back to quantum mechanics, or we can look into quantum physics, and we can talk about things like the string theory. And what does that
Yes.
mean? Those small light code
Entanglement.
entanglement coming together. And what is that entanglement? That entanglement is the beginning of that DNA. It's the beginning of making of an a human structure falling back down and coagulating and coming into manifestation here on the third dimension. We can go into all of these concepts and we can go into them deeply, but they are all related to what we are
Yes.
experiencing even now. Okay, because it's the other end of the spectrum. So if I could show you that end of the spectrum, it will help you navigate through this prism that we call the third dimension. Okay, that I call the prism planet, that we
Yeah, it's
as
like a Merkaba.
souls have been incarcerated in this cell of cells, and we've been sentenced to life. And like you said, Queen, we've been doing time. We've been doing time here on the prison planet. And so what we have to do is make the best out of that time. So that's why we're here. So that while
Right.
we're on the
And
prison
each
planet, while
time,
we're here, we can show us and share with you information that helps you get through this time that we are living in. Well, speaking of time, we're out of it. And so we got to say good night. We're going to get ready to go. The clock is ticking on. We've enjoyed these conversations, and we've even enjoyed when they go off, because we like to give you, well, we used to say in church, well, whichever way the Lord move, whichever way the Holy Ghost move, that's the way that we that's the way that we that's the way that we move. That's the way we move here on the
yes,
Neo Report.
indeed.
Whichever way the Holy Ghost move, we move in the way of the Spirit. And so we, Spirit would have had us to share this information with you tonight. So we thank you. We thank everybody for tuning in. We thank you for this.
Yes.
Listen, share this information. I'm not the best at this, so I don't really know how to do it, but I'm supposed to tell you to share the information. I'm supposed to tell you to subscribe, like, and do all those things. Help me while I get into the groove of getting this information out there. But we want to thank everybody. And listen, don't forget, we're going to be right back here next week. Same time, same place, same Neo Report. Give us our closing remarks, Queen, if you would.
We want to wish everyone a wonderful weekend. Have a beautiful, beautiful weekend. We're supposed to have great weather, so I'm very excited. I want to go outside and feel the sun and, like activate my pineal gland and activate my DNA in the sunshine. But lastly, watch what you say to yourself, family. Sometimes we say things to ourselves that are not pleasant, positive, or advancing for us. Watch what you say to yourself. Speak love to yourself first. Then you can love everybody else. All right? One love, family. Peace, Doc.
One love. Give thanks. Peace, everybody. Good night. And we'll talk to you all next week.